You really should not run it again until you take action. Taking this advice. Oh, there's a lot.
That is crazy. That's deep.
It's another day working in the garage, and we're working on the 62 AMC Rambler Classic. A Freeman's Garage viewer has saved this engine from sheer destruction. Let's get to work and I'll explain. So in the previous video, working on this car, we were going to bring the engine up to operating temperature, torque the head bolts, and adjust the valve lash, which we are required to do by the 1962 AMC Factory Technical Service Manual. But our water control valve, which is tucked up in the corner there, started leaking on us and dumping coolant into the into the cockpit, if you will. That shut us down, and parts are on order, but I've discovered that it's going to be a good while before the parts come in. So what we're going to do is something I said that we weren't going to do in that previous video, is we're just going to bypass that valve so that we can get our head bolt and valve job done. In a future video, we are going to have to undo the bypass setup that we're going to do with our heater hoses here in this video. But, and I said in the previous video with this car, we weren't going to do that, but I'm not going to sit around for 2 weeks-ish waiting for parts. I want to keep the project moving forward, so that's what we're going to do. Real quick, I'm just going to take a few seconds just to say that if you just came in here brand new to Freeman's Garage and you don't know what's going on here, this car is parked in 75. We haven't driven it yet on the channel. We've only had it running here in the garage. All the videos are linked in the video description so you can catch up after you finish watching this one. And I just want to throw this in there real quick too, just in case you're coming in cold here. And because we didn't finish the job in the previous video with this car, the factory service manual says every 4,000 miles, check the torque on the head bolts. Every 8,000 miles, torque the head bolts to 58 to 62 foot-pounds. And also we're going to be doing, when we're daily driving the car, every 4,000 miles when we check the torque of the head bolts, we're also going to check the valve lash as well, and if it needs adjusting, we'll do it. So it's very important that we do this work before we drive this car on the road, or we're gonna destroy the engine. And speaking of destroying the engine, so a viewer wrote into the show. Let's just say that compared to this gentleman that wrote in here, I have no experience and no clue what I'm doing with this engine. So this is full of golden nuggets here, and I'll get to the point, the main thing I want to share with you in a second here. But first I want to tell you that he wrote, I typically keep from 6 to 12 of these engines around and rebuild a half dozen of them a year for clients. And he says they are no longer cheap to build. Building one is an opportunity you likely don't want. That's true. It's like Vegas stakes around here. The pockets are empty at all times. So here's the main piece of information in here in regard to this video that you're watching right now. He says, you really should not run it again until you take action. The reason is the engine has 13 little cesspools in it that you need to clean out before you run it much longer. The crap accumulated in the cesspools can kill the oil pump in really short order. And he emphasizes really short order. And then he goes on to say, open the engine passenger side covers and you will find them surrounding the lifters. And then he says, these cesspools were a rudimentary oil filter before the engine was later fitted with the partial flow oil filter up on top of the engine. Oil from the valve train drops into these cesspools and the pools fill. When the oil lands in them and the dirt sinks to the bottom and the oil flows over the edge and down into the oil pan, over years of running the cesspools lifter wells. Fill with a metallic, greasy substance about the consistency of Permatex great stuff. He continues, when the wells get full, usually 50 to 70,000 miles, the engine has not only lost its primary oil cleaning mechanism, the oil dropping in the collected dirt in the wells then begins to pollute the rest of the engine. Do yourself a favor and clean them out. I typically, I already read you that part. I guess I could have just, waited. Yeah, something tells me that he's not fishing and fooling. Before we do anything, let's get those side covers off. I'm taking this advice. We'll get this out of the way. Now, it looks like these side covers could use a resealing anyways. So this is probably a good thing to do regardless, or something we should be doing anyways. So we'll get this debris out of here, all these crumbs if you will, just to keep stuff from falling in here when we take these covers off. And then it looks like we just take 2 nuts out. Well, there's 2 covers here, so there's this one and then there's this one back here. Looks like they each got 2 nuts. We should be able to pop them off, and then we will see what it looks like in there. How's this for a wrench? It's what you call an oldie but a goodie. Speaking of oldie but goodie, let's take this spark plug wire off and get that out of your way so that we don't ruin your viewing pleasure. And it looks like a 1/2 inch. Let's break the old grease on there. Oh, that's probably why they're leaking. Just loose, probably just backed off from all the miles being put on. Clean out these threads a little bit, just so that we don't jam everything all up. And I'll take advantage of a ratchet. Normally I don't take much advantage of things that make things go faster. I kind of stick with the caveman stuff. Okay, we'll put that there so that it falls off and we'll never find it again. That's probably what's going to happen. And we should replace this hose before we test drive the car out on the road. I think that'd probably be something to do. Let's see if we can get this one off without a screwdriver. Okay, I'm gonna grab a screwdriver and a hammer. I don't think we need a hammer, you know, just need a little persuasion. There we go. Starting to pop off. We don't want to damage anything or bend this up at all, this cover. So we'll be gentilly lace on it. Okay, just being careful here, I don't want to bend it up. Let's get it from the bottom. Wonder if maybe these washers are kind of holding it on a little bit. Okay, I need a thinner screwdriver. Okay, here we go. Okay, yeah, this is probably gonna help. I've never taken the side cover off of a Nash designed 196, so this is a brand new experience for me. I don't know exactly what we're gonna see, behind here. Whoa, yeah, that's not what I was expecting at all. That's interesting. Whoa. Whoa, yeah. Completely not what I was expecting. I was not expecting all this. I was expecting just a flat cover by itself. And look, there's all this buildup on it. All this sludge. What's it look like? Great. Oh, wow. That's interesting. So check that out. I was assuming it was just going to be just a flat plate. That's neat. Do we see anything like described in the letter? Okay, now I'm getting the lever all greasy, which I didn't want to do. Okay, how did he describe this again? So 13 cesspools. Okay, yeah, open passenger side covers. You will find them surrounding the lifters. Okay. Oh, let me put this somewhere clean, because I'm not throwing this away. I need that letter to last because I don't have a photogenic memory. So he said around the lifters. Those are the lifters with the push rods sitting on them. And so yeah, it's these cesspools surrounding them. Fascinating. Let's just stick a finger in there and see what comes out. And you know, this is, I hope this is going to make me want to take the engine apart and clean everything. Oh no, it's going to be fine. Just stick your finger in the cesspool and see what's on it when it comes out. Whoa. Whoa. Yeah, there's crud in there. Oh yeah. Oh, there's a lot. Holy cow, this rudimentary oil filtering system must have worked. Yeah, you know, somehow, a little bit anyways. Whoa, there's a lot. Well, maybe it actually worked pretty good. There's a lot. Oh, and you know what this looks like? This couldn't be the old, like, green Quaker State oil, could it be? Would that have been sold anywhere around Texas? Or was that just east? Does that have a green tint to it? It might be kind of hard to tell in the lighting for you, but come on, old timers, chime in the comments. I need ya. Well, come over here and try to look down in here again, and I'll put my finger there and scoop some out. It feels like it's really deep. This is pretty crazy, actually. I'm gonna stick my finger in one of the 13 cesspools. Okay, whoa, no way. That is crazy. Whoa. That's deep. Holy cow. Wow. That's crazy. I would say that was at least an inch deep. And there's 13 of them. Oh boy. This is going to take a lot longer than I thought it was going to. Is this going to be a video of just cleaning out cesspools? I mean, cesspools are pretty cool, but I don't know. This is probably going to take me, I don't know, at least an hour off camera. Now that I think about it for another second, this is going to take me forever. Let's clean out a little bit more in here together. And then, boy, I don't think anyone's gonna want me making dinner tonight. Let's clean out a little bit more together in here, and then I'm just gonna go turkey on it. Or ham. Yeah, it's ham, right? I'm gonna go ham. I'm gonna go ham on it. Should I go ham or should I go turkey on it? All right, let's get some more crud out of this engine. Oh my gosh. It's gonna take forever. Gonna take forever. Whoa. Oh yeah, I wish you could feel this. It's like a semi-firm layer of mud just below the top of the cesspool, we could call it. And then when you push your finger down, yeah, it just goes through like a firm mud all the way down to the bottom. It's like river mud. You know what I mean? If you're from the desert, you might not know, but if you're from anywhere that has muddy rivers, you do. Look at that. Wow. Exactly as described. Oh, I just got this stuff all over the light now. We're in it now, you know. I mean it. Alright, everything's slippery now. What I was gonna say was if you're wet, you might as well get in the pool. What I was gonna say before that is I don't know if I'm going a little overboard here or not, but I'm thinking about covering these oil return holes. I'm sure those holes are just there for oil to make its way back down into the crankcase, into the oil pan. But I kind of don't want the excess stuff that I'm squeezing out of here to go down in there. So I'm thinking about wiping this trough up here and then maybe sticking some rags in these holes just to keep that gunky stuff out of there. I don't know, that might be taking it too far, but I don't know, makes me feel better. But of course the best thing would be to disassemble the engine and clean out all the passageways, but we're not doing that. Just can't get over how neat that is. You know what I wonder? If you could somehow get a shop vac in here. I wonder, would you ruin the shop vac? I'm finding spots back here that are hidden. I've been cleaning this out for probably half an hour, and then I find these little hidey holes. Feel like I'm slicing the back of my hand open too. This from the back of my hand, rubbing across this here. But yeah, I'm getting it cleaned out. It's just a slow, tedious process, and of course, you know, I want to make it perfect in here, but I know it's not going to be perfect, so it's kind of, you know, where do you stop kind of a thing, but we're not there yet though, so let's keep going, cleaning a little bit more. Well, that was brutal, and I went with gloves too late. I should have heeded the warning in that letter. Didn't it say something about the consistency of the goop that we were gonna find in here? I just went nuts in here for a good solid hour. Of course, it was the finger at first, and getting back in all the hard to reach spots, and see if we can get in here. Yes, there's a piece of towel in there that blue shop towel that we'll take out in a second. I left it in there just to show you an example of what I was doing. But you can see, well, I think you're actually getting a pretty good view at those pools or cavities in there. But what I was doing was I was putting a piece of towel in there and then taking the a pick and getting in the little crevices and whatnot, like that. I did this over and over in every little spot in there. And now what we need to do is, or what I want to do is, check this out. Since we're doing this, we might as well scrape this stuff up. Although I'm kind of hesitant to do it because, well, we'll do it right here in the bottom. But you know that what this looks like here, you could probably scrape like that all over, up inside and on the roof in here and on the back wall and everything. But if we were gonna try to do that, I mean, you know, that would be almost impossible, right? Or it would take days, and at that point we should probably just disassemble the engine and rebuild it, right? So you gotta pick your battles, right? But yeah, when I went to put gloves on, I tried to wash the stuff off my hands, and it's not really coming off very well. So, but I guess maybe they'll just come off with the days and weeks. But anyways, I'm gonna scrape this and wipe this down, get this trough cleaned out, and then I'll show you what we're gonna do next, because I just thought of it right now. We need to do it. And then after I show you that, and we do it, then we gotta do the second area of cesspools. So, but I promise that for you, it'll be a lot shorter. Kind of like a montage with some royalty-free light rock and roll tracks, if you know what I mean. I didn't notice this with all the gunk everywhere, but when I started scraping, here is our old gasket, old cork gasket on here, so we got to clean that up too. I'm telling you, this is funny because it's one of these things where in my head I was seriously thinking, yeah, we'll just bust these side covers off and wipe them out in there real quick, and then it turns into, oh yeah, we're gonna have to probably get a razor blade and scrape all these surfaces and all this and that, and then we got gaskets. But you know, that's how it goes. Okay, this one's done. It only took about 50 million years, but we're there, man. I would say that I probably put about 2 hours into this, and it could be a little bit better, but I mean, not to beat a dead mule, but once again, there's no point because there's a lot more of it hiding in there. So here's the thing that I realized that we also need to do is we need to take this, separate it from the car, put it in the parts washer, and clean it up real good. Get all the gunk out of it, and this baffle looking deal on there, that's just to keep oil from going up through this hose here, which is just a vent. It's the crankcase venting itself, and then it's going into the intake manifold and into the cylinders and being burnt. Just venting itself instead of venting itself out onto the ground and whatnot. Yeah, I think we've quickly descended into... Oh, are you a flathead? You know, flathead screwdriver? That's kind of... Why are you a flathead? I had one over here. Where is it? Oh, there it is. We are slowly... Well, we have descended into... cleaning this out here to be pretty much a day's work, because the amount of time it takes to do one well or hole, you could say, or behind one cover, and we got to do 2 of them, and it doesn't make any sense to do that and then not clean this. I mean, what would be the point of that? And then if we're doing this, we might as well replace this hose here, and that, I think that's 5/8. Looks just like the 5/8 heater hose that we put on the car. And I think I'm out, so probably gonna have to make a trip to the store at parts for, probably get 4 feet of heater hose, and that should work. I just want to do a good job, you know. I want to do a good job. This car deserves it, and we want it to last. And let's take note of which way this cover goes on. Okay. Alright, I see how it goes. Okay, I'll try to remember that. But yeah, we want to do a good job here, you know. We don't want to do we don't want to be lazy and do a disservice to this car. And of course, we're going to want to clean up the clamp on here too. Of course, that's going to take some time. And I highly doubt that we're going to find replacement gaskets anywhere locally, right, for these. So either we're going to be making our own gaskets, cutting our own, or we will, speaking of cutting, we should cut that off, or we will use some gasket maker in a tube. Holy cow, that did not want to come off. Here's an AMC engine part from 1962, the before. And we'll see what it looks like in the after when it's all cleaned up. Are you shocked that I didn't put this in the blast cabinet? I thought about it. Oh yeah, I forgot about our nuts and washers. Still gotta do that, so let's clean those up lickety-split, and then let's get right on to the other cover and cesspools. And you know what I just thought about, and I didn't think about this earlier, and if I did, we would have done this one first. You know how sometimes it works out real well if you do the hardest thing first, or in this case, say you got two of the same thing, but one's more difficult than the other. Knock out the more difficult one first. Well, look at the next one we got to do. Towards the back, and behind and underneath, well, almost every single component that's bolted to this engine is hovering over that side cover. But, oh well. Let's hop to it, let's get it done, and then we will have a powwow. Oh, that looked dumb. Okay, whatever. I'm done trying to be cool in this video, okay? Let's get this done, and then we will have a powwow about gasket choices. Am I a loser? Sometimes I feel like a loser. I don't know. Don't answer. I don't want to talk about it. My mom loves me. That's all that counts. It's the next day. Surprise, surprise. I was taking that second side cover off yesterday when I was alerted that the temperature inside the domicile was unusually warm and rising. So I ended up troubleshooting, diagnosing, and repairing a broken air conditioner. Pretty gosh darn cold. This is not overheating here anymore. Warm air's coming up, getting blown out. Motor's not overheating. I think it's gonna work. And there went the rest of that day. But hey, we're back. We're back on the job. But I'm gonna tidy up this area real quick first because I wanna keep this nastiness off the car. And I don't want to ruin this shirt. This is one of my only semi-decent shirts left at this point. You know, this is not just a going to Wally World shirt. This is a going out to eat shirt. This is a take your sweet pea down to the Hungry House Cafe shirt. What was I doing yesterday? Why did I have so many tools over here? I don't understand that. And a rubber mallet? What the heck was going on? There's an 86% chance that this is going to be a huge pain, but I hope not. I hope it's nothing but pure fun and enjoyment. Oh, really? These are studs that can come out? I wonder if those ones on the front can come out too. I guess we'll have to make sure that these are tight. Okay. Well, you learn something new every day. Now, this nut back here, oh geez, okay. Yeah, we might have to take the fuel pump off, which I'd rather not do. Let's see what happens, I guess. I mean, what else are we gonna do? Not see what happens? Geez, no wonder why there's so much oil back here. That wasn't even very tight, was it? Okay, well, thank goodness the nut has loosened up and it's not taking the stud out with it, because the stud would never come out with the fuel pump here. Although it might loosen the stud up and take it out if we leave all that gunk in the threads elbow pop. See, I think the reason why this stud came out or unthreaded was because of the gunk in these threads here. The nut kind of jammed up on the gunk and then it twisted the whole thing out. So let's hit the threads right there with the wire brush and get some of that gunk off. Because the nut's loose right now, but if we jam it into all that gunk, we might spin the stud out just like that, and that's not going to be cool because it's not going to be able to come out with the fuel pump there. Okay, that cleaned up real good. Hopefully that's all we need. One of these days, Alice, one of these days, we'll get this nut off. You know what, I'm going to do things a little bit differently this time. And before we crack the seal on that cover, I'm going to try to clean up around the outside of it as good as I can. Because once we pop it off like that, and then you clean around the outside, you know, then you're knocking stuff down in there, or you gotta cover it all up. I'd rather clean the outside first, and then we'll pop that open. And you can see the camshaft in there. Isn't that cool? That's the camshaft right there. That shiny bit. That's what makes everything under here do its thing. The valve train. And, oh, I was going to tell you this yesterday too. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I highly doubt it. But there is a little... Bear with me, I'm trying to get a light set up for you. Oh, this is going to be... Oh, there it is. About in the center of your screen, there's a hole, and that's so that oil can get in here, pass through into here. That's where your, well, I've never taken that cover off on a 196 before, so I would assume that you've got a big gear here on the end of the camshaft that's meshed up with a gear on the end of the crankshaft behind the cover. I mean, I couldn't imagine there being a chain or a belt in there. It's probably 2 gears. Hopefully we don't ever have to find that out though, right? Hopefully we don't have to take this all apart. I mean, I would love to take a 196 completely apart and see every little nook and cranny inside of it, but I don't want to take this one apart. Not anytime soon anyways. I'd rather be cruising down the highway, you know? Here, let's move this spark plug wire. Get the dirt dauber nest off. There's a little layer of caked on gunk here, using a chisel to scrape it off. Yeah, you can see there's a little bit. It's kind of coming off like I'm trying to scoop up a piece for you. Well, whatever. This stuff. Okay, I think we're ready to take it off. We got it cleaned up pretty darn good, so let's pop it off. So what do you think it's gonna look like in here? The same amount of gunk as in the first one, or what do you think? There we go. I'm glad I didn't pry when I stuck the screwdriver in the bolt hole. I thought about it, but that probably would have twisted it up. But we do have a crackage of the sealage. So, let's keep working on it. There we go. Just got one of these washers to contend with. Let's get that off. If I can get my paw down in here. Okay, there you go. Oh, almost dropped that one. Alright, screwdriver. My goal is to clean this one out way faster than the first one. Well, for you, I would make it, you know, with the magic of video editing. I was planning on making the second one a lot faster for you anyways, but well, I mean, unless you want to chat, we could chit chat. What do you want to talk about? The Braves? The Yankees? I think we got to get this RTV off of here. Off around the stud here. I think that's what's holding us on. I'm telling you, if we bend this cover, we're doomed. Or we're gonna at least add on a significant amount of time trying to straighten it out. Alright, there we go. It has popped. Let's see the manifest. Oh no! That dual action fuel pump we rebuilt, soda blasted, painted, clear coated and everything is getting a little dirty. But I don't know, I think it'll be fine. It'll clean up. Okay, this one doesn't have that big baffle because it doesn't have that vent tube. You know, the baffle on, well, let me show you. So that big baffle on here for the front side cover was to keep oil from getting through it and into that hose. So this is what the cleaning job is going to look like for this one. A little bit easier. Let's get this soaking right now before we get down in there and see how nasty it is. Let's not peek our face in there yet. And you know what I just realized? That if we would have taken these studs out here on the front, it would have made it a lot easier to get in there and clean. Just noticing that by looking at the back here, since that one's not in there, there's so much more room. But the thing is I wonder if these are in there good and tight, is it best just to leave them? You know, if you take these studs out and then put them back in, are they just gonna rattle loose, vibrate loose over time? I suppose you could use some thread locker, but I don't know. But let's start on this. So let's get this layer here. Let's get the layer, just the thick layer scraped off of this, and then we'll just drop it in the parts washer here down in the solution and just let it soak while we go work on the cesspools. I don't know, is that a good plan? I think it is. Ho ho ho, that is satisfying. Look at that. I think the factory paint color of this engine, of the block and cylinder head, was a gray of some sort. And it looks like original engine paint right there. That's pretty cool. In the future we will have to paint this engine. Future video stuff. But for right now, let's dunk this. I'm trying to think of how I could do this back one differently than how I did the front one. You can't eliminate this completely because everything's such, you know, a greasy mess. But I kind of felt like on the front one, I kind of cleaned every area in there more than once. I would clean a spot and then clean out another spot, but that would spill over into an area that I already cleaned. It's probably kind of hard to prevent. But you know, I'm just thinking, how could I reduce the amount of time it's going to take? Okay, I don't know if this makes any sense or not. We'll see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to clean the gasket mating surface and the trough area and kind of the front sidewalls inside. I'm going to clean that up first. Maybe not 100% because it's, you know, going to get a little dirty again, but I'll get the whole front area there, just the majority of it cleaned out, spruced up a bit, and then I'll go into the back and start digging down into the cesspools. I don't know, but what I can tell you is if I continue to stand here any longer, it's never going to get done. So I'm going to do that as quickly as I can. No matter what, it's going to be a very tedious and painful, twisty job. But as soon as I get done doing that, then we will go in together and take the plunge and see just how much gook and gunk is built up in the rear area. And I've been saying 13 cesspools, just as the letter from the amazing viewer had stated. And I think it's 6 up here, little dippy-doo cesspool areas. I think it's 6 up front, 6 in the back, I think. If you're watching, my friend, go ahead, drop a comment down there, type away. You know, maybe the 13 total is there's 7 up here and 6 back here. I don't know. All I know is I'm cleaning cesspools and I kind of like it. Mission accomplished, aye aye sir. Well, the first part anyways. So now, let's see what we got for goopage. Can you see in there? Okay, well there's the cesspools. And there's oil in there, which there's supposed to be. There's our lifters and push rods. Let's, let's Rolling Stones this and get some sticky fingers. I'm really trying hard here to give you a good view of this. But the lighting shadow situation is not the best. Okay. Oh, you can see pretty good. Okay. Oh, this is perfect. Let me get some zoomage action because I want you to see this. Okay, you see this push rod and then this lifter, and then you see this ledge that goes down and then it goes up over there. Okay, and then there's all that oil in between. So if I do this, you can see the oil splashing. Now my finger is stopping right there. See, we come down this little ridge, that's about how far it is to the bottom of the pond. Okay. Now watch this. See, I'm feeling that goop like in the first, or in the front cover. So watch this. It's only that deep. But watch how far my finger will go down. Oh, wait, oh, gosh darn it, look, I just cleaned that. And then, no, I don't want all that stuff to go down in there. Ah, why did I do that? Okay, I plugged those 3 holes, just like we did at the front. And of course, I'm expecting to have to wipe this trough out again. But I just don't want that really nasty goop to go down in these holes and onto the camshaft and the cam bearings and whatnot. So I'll line this in here and then we'll start scooping out. So let's scoop a little bit together for the fun of it, and then, like Mr. Showmanship, I will boogie woogie and we will converge on the other side of this. I'm trying to keep this stuff off of the lifters as much as I can, but it's kind of a lost cause. Got a little issue with this one here. The nut don't want to come off. Being put a day behind and the cesspool cleaning outage job being a lot more involved than originally thought. I don't know if we're gonna get around well, that was turning, and then now it's... I don't know if we're going to get around to the setting the valve lash and torquing the head bolts and all that stuff. So we might have to do that in the next video with this Rambler. Come on. Come out. Alright, there you go. Can's a little low. I'm not 100% sure yet. And I had something else I was just going to say to you, but oh yeah, that's right. So we're a day behind on this little job now, and the RTV that we're going to use, because there's nowhere that we can get a gasket, and there's not really a point in making our own gaskets. Cutting our own gaskets out of gasket material when I've got gasket maker and a tube on hand. But that's gonna take 24 hours to cure. There we go. It's coming undone. That's good. The threads look good too. They do not look boogered up at all. I think it's just, might be RTV that's got it all jammed up here. I don't know, but we're going to be putting our TV on it, so we'll just try to keep it out of the threads if we can. Of course, we're going to put gasket maker around the edge of the rectangle side covers, push rod covers, but we're also going to put some right here where this chunk is, because we want to make sure that oil doesn't come out past the threads and past the nut. Well, now you can see that better. I took the washer off. This might not be RTV on here. That might actually be a real rubber gasket, but we're using RTV. All right, my friend, it is time for the co-main event. No, this is the main event, right? Is this the main event? Are we canceling valve lash and head bolt torquage? Oh yeah, that's right, we are, because we got to cure for 24 hours. Okay, main event, time for the main event. We still get to replace this hose too, let's not forget about that, because that'll look nice and purty when it's done. Speaking of purty, that's our original hardware. It looks pretty good now, huh? So let's, well, we gotta put that back in. But let's put this in right now, and then we will get our gasket maker on our push rod covers and install them. Okay, let's just hope we don't have any kind of a issue here. And I can't see. Okay, I can feel where it goes. I will guide it in. I will guide it in. Okay, did we got it? Or did we miss it? Okay, no, we're in. Okay, we are threading in. Okay, I think it might have snugged up a little too early. Let's pull it out and see if the threads are dirty, and they are, so let's wipe these off. I've run out of blue shop towels right at the end here. Okay, it feels like that's in all the way, but let's put a nut on. We'll tighten the nut down all the way and then snug this thing in there. I'll just make sure we don't overdo it. You know, I'm actually glad that the valve lash and head bolt torque is going to be in a separate video from this video, because so that way many years from now, when the documentation of this project is looked back on, the head bolts and the valve lash adjustment will be in its own little module. Okay, just to snug it. Oh yeah, it's turning a lot more. Okay, so this is a good idea. I just don't want to snug it so much that we jam the nut on there. Okay, that's probably good. So now we need the nut to come off and the stud to stay in. No! The stud's coming out with the nut. Okay, I got a better idea. What we need to do is take this stud back out. Because I got a genius plan. And of course this plan is not going to work if this nut does not come off. I just cleaned that. Okay, let's hope that this nut will come off easily. Okay. Oh. Thank Hulk Hogan. Okay, luckily we didn't destroy any threads. So, let's put this nut back on. And now we're going to get a second nut. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Put this second nut on here. We are going to make a jam nut situation. So that way those will jam and we can snug up the stud, and then we will be able to get the nuts off. We'll need 2 wrenches, but the nut won't get jammed down here and hold on to the stud and unthread it. Would it be weird if I just randomly started thinking about Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man? Yeah, he carried that briefcase that had $1 million in it. We bring it to the ring. Or was it Irwin R. Shyster, IRS, that carried a briefcase to the ring with $1 million in it? And I just remember seeing Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, with the briefcase in his hand because he smashed IRS over the head with it. It's probably how it went. If you didn't watch WWF wrestling in the 90s, you're probably wondering what in the world am I talking about. Alright, here's the moment of truth. Alright, we got it, we're good. So now I'm going to take the nuts and I'm gonna thread them on and off all these other studs, these other 3, just to make sure that the threads are clean and good to go, and then we will apply our gasket maker and put the covers on. I don't want to take the time to do this, but threading these nuts on and off again, but I think it's going to be worth it because I don't want to have the gasket maker on and then put the covers on here and then realize that the threads got some gunk in them that I didn't realize was there. Because that's not going to be fun, having to take a goopy mess back off. Exciting times here at Freeman's Garage. I had to tiptoe in the house and raid the paper towels. Don't get caught doing that. Not with these boots and these clothes on anyways. And we will clean our mating surfaces. I mean, they're clean, we did all that work on them, but we just want to make sure there's none of that stuff on there. So we'll clean it up with some brake cleaner, and I already cleaned the schnoids, is that a word? The schnoids out of the mating surfaces on the engine block, so that's good. Just got to get these side covers. So of course there's no guarantee that we got every little piece of goop out of those cesspools. I mean, they're clean and dry, but there could be little chunks of gunk, you know, on a lifter or something that is just impossible for us to see or get. And it is what it is. I think we'll be fine, but remember, the whole point of all this was so that that stuff doesn't destroy the oil pump. If the oil pump gets destroyed, now, basically, the engine will get destroyed. And if that were to happen, when we're driving this car in future videos, if the oil pump were to get clogged because of stuff still in there or something, and we kill this engine, hopefully which I don't think is going to happen, but hopefully it happens somewhere nice. A nice, safe spot to coast to a stop. You know, like the edge of a small town in Wyoming. As long as it doesn't happen on the Jersey Turnpike. Permatex Red RTV Silicone High Temp Gasket Maker. Resists up to 650 degrees Fahrenheit. I hope we don't test that up. Ooh, sensor safe. I clean my hands as good as I can. Good, Ken. Alright, I got a pair of snippy doos. And we will snip this. Oh, I don't know. Don't go in the carburetor. Oh, thank you. We'll do a bead. About a 1/16 to a 1/4 inch wide. That should do it. Yeah, nice and red. Alright, get in here. You gotta see the craftsmanship that's about to take place. We're gonna do the cover for the rear first, because that one's the most difficult to reach. Now this is one of these things where people will fight tooth and nail over what's right, what's wrong. Just, you know, somebody watching this is going to agree with what I'm doing here. Oh, and we're doing this on the covers. We're not putting it on the engine block, because if we put it on the cover, then we have time to do what we got to do without things dripping and drooping. If we put it on the engine block, it might droop and drip off. So I would say something like that. See, now somebody watching this is perfectly okay with this, and then there's somebody else watching it that is screaming at the television set. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. This guy's an idiot. Well, then come back and keep watching videos of Freeman's Garage, because you won't want to miss it when this leaks all over the place and you get to laugh. Is that what I've resorted to? Is that my new way of tricking people to watch more videos? You might get a chance to make fun of me. Ooh, actually I'm going to wipe all this off and restart because I want to be closer. I'm kidding. Oh great, I screwed it up on the bottom corner. Yeah. That's where it's going to leak. What is this guy doing? Does he think he's welding? You know what? If it leaks, I don't care. As long as I own a Rambler, I'm a happy man. Go back to mechanic school, bud. Hey, if you're making fun of me right now, which I know you're not, that's almost impossible. I still love you, man. We can still be friends. Okay, put that in the comments. Is it gonna leak in the future? This is one of those moments where I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I don't think I am. Although I could be. This looks more like an art project. Okay, don't drop it. Don't drop it. Don't drop it. Don't smear it. Don't smear it. Don't drop it. Don't drop it. Don't smear it. Don't smear it. Don't drop it. Okay. Can't get it in here. Oh, brother. This is taking long enough. You're just a cover. Just go in the hole. Well, I'm putting you on the way you came off. Well, what is the problem? I don't understand what the problem is. Oh, we've come so far. Oh, is this why there was something different about this stud? No, here's what you do. You force it on. Come on, before I mess this all up. Come on, you have to go on before I mess up this RTV with my fingers. Okay, come on. I'm starting to mess it all up now. Why is this not going on? It's not like... Well, how did you come off then? It's not a game of inches, it's a game of what's smaller than inches. Come look at this. I've been trying to Tetris this in here for 10 minutes. It's just a fraction of an inch would let it just slide right in. This is one of those moments where you can't believe that's what's happening is even happening. How did this happen? How did I ever get the cover off? You know, that's why stud was the way it was. No, it's a good thing we put that stud in there extra tight. Are we going to be able to get it out? Why? Thank goodness. Vice grip. Well, I need these again. I thought it was loose enough, but it wasn't. Back out again. I want to make sure there's no little metal shavings from the jaws of the vice grip. All right, should we do it again? Second time's a charm, right? Oop. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, you know, I actually want to put a little bit more on that end. I know. Roast me in the comments because this is starting to look like a ridiculous mess here, but it is what it is at this point. Alright. We're not getting points for looks, so. Okay, we're basically there. Let's put our stud back in. Okay, that's lined up. It's on. Now we gotta get this stud in the rest of the way. Alright, I just did the jam nut trick. I'm gonna put a little bit of gasket maker now right there and right there on the threads, and that glob will be behind the washer. Okay, I'm going to tighten this one up, and then I'm going to put the front cover on, and then I will tell you how tight I tighten these covers and the reason why. Let's just get them both on first. Alright, one more. I probably shouldn't play around like that, I'll probably drop it. And to think, I had no clue that this work needed to be done. No clue. Once again, I can't thank the gentleman enough who brought this to my attention. You know, we all go through different seasons. I think I put way too much on there. We all go through different seasons in our lives, right? Well, I'm sure there was a season in my life, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, where if I would have gotten advice like this, I might have I might have thought, no one's telling me what to do. I already know what I'm doing. Speaking of what I'm doing, so I am tightening these push rod covers up until our gasket or maker or RTV, whatever you want to call it, until it starts squishing out the sides like that. And then I'm going to let it sit like this for about an hour. And then after about an hour, I will tighten them down all the way as far as I want to tighten them down, as snug as I think we need them. And when this stuff is completely cured, which is going to be about 24 hours, I'll do the old razor blade slicey thing around the outside if there's any ugly excess flappage. I think that's fan-damn-tastic, and I don't think that stuff's gonna leak. Yeah, I don't know. I think we did a good enough job. Only time will tell. Wait a second. Did I put that pushrod cover on upside down? Well, I looked at the baffle before I put it on, and I thought I put it on. Was it? Which way was it? You know, I made a point to pay attention to which way I put that cover back on. But I don't know if it's deja vu or what, but I put it on, and then I looked at it, and then I thought that it didn't look right. I mean, maybe it's because you would think it would curve up. You know, I don't know if you were just making things neat and orderly. Like, why would you make it curve that way? But if I look at the hose, yeah, that's the way it was on there, right? I think so. I'll have to look back at the, when I watch this video myself, I'll have to, I guess I'll see, won't I? If it's on upside down, I don't know if it would really matter, but if it is, I'll redo a gasket, whatever. But while we're waiting for an hour for that, let's go to the parts store and get some heater hose, man. And swap that new hose on there. Well, that was dumb. I should have called ahead. They don't have any half-inch heater hose. And you know why? Earlier in the video was I saying 5/8 heater hose? It's clearly smaller. We need half-inch for that. But I ordered some, so future video. It's been a little bit over an hour since time of application. A little bit longer than I'd like it to be, actually. And you see it's not all sticking to my finger anymore, and it's not cured. It's going to be overnight for that, close to 24 hours. But let's go ahead and tighten these down all the way now. Yes, it's feeling good. Good in the neighborhood. Getting closer and closer to finally driving this cotton picking thing. Okay, I don't want to go too tight. I mean, obviously I don't want it to be loosey-goosey, but I don't want to go too tight either. So we'll call it good right here for the front one. Okay, now we gotta do the back. This is a big deal here. You know, this job that we knocked out here is crucial. I mean, this is just what we did today is just as important as setting the valve lash and torquing the head bolts like we will, you know, I guess the next video. It's just as important as that. Hey, you know, if anything leaks, we'll just squirt RTV all over the outside of everything. I'm kidding. Cover the entire engine in RTV. But yeah, this is huge, big deal.
We might have destroyed this thing if we didn't do this.
I can't even tell you how much I appreciate that letter coming in with the information about the cesspools. It's invaluable. You can't even put a price on it. I'm going to send you to the video that's on your screen right now. It's another one with this car. And if you like this one, I think you'll like the one on the screen. So I'll send you to watch that one next. And we'll see you next time. Memories age like